The pilot smirked as the frail old lady struggled with her boarding pass. "Ma'am, are you sure you're on the right flight?" he joked. Passengers chuckled until she opened her passport, and the cabin went completely silent. It was a chilly afternoon at Chicago O'Hare Airport. The sound of rolling suitcases echoed across Gate C-17 as travelers rushed aboard their international flight. Among them stood an elderly woman, Margaret Hayes, 82 years old, dressed in a simple gray coat, holding a small leather handbag that looked older than some of the passengers around her. Her trembling hands searched through the purse for the boarding pass. She smiled politely at the gate attendant, but the scanner didn't beep. The man behind her sighed loudly. "Come on, lady, some of us have connections." The young pilot standing near the counter, Captain Ryan Cooper, just 32, looked at her with a smirk. "Ma'am, are you sure this isn't the wrong flight? We're going overseas, not bingo night." Laughter rippled through the line. Margaret looked up, meeting his eyes calmly. Her voice, though soft, carried quiet authority. "I assure you, young man, I'm exactly where I need to be." The agent smiled kindly, scanned the pass again, and the gate beeped green. "Welcome aboard, Mrs. Hayes." Margaret nodded gently and began walking toward the jet bridge. As she disappeared down the tunnel, Ryan shook his head and muttered under his breath, "Some people should just stay home." The flight attendants standing nearby whispered to each other. "She looks so fragile," one said. "Maybe her kids booked this for her." Poor lady. Margaret walked slowly down the long, humming jet bridge. The sound of her cane echoed softly against the metal floor. She paused for a moment, adjusting the strap of her handbag. Inside was a dark blue U.S. passport, worn but dignified, embossed with gold letters, United States of America. As she stepped into the plane, she smiled at the flight attendants and quietly took her seat near the window. Seat 1-2A. The hum of the engines, the smell of jet fuel, the chatter of passengers, none of it bothered her. For her, this wasn't noise. It was memory. A young woman seated next to her smiled kindly. "First time flying." Margaret chuckled softly. "Oh dear, I used to live on planes." The girl laughed politely, not realizing the truth behind those words. Captain Ryan walked through the aisle, performing his final check. When his eyes met hers again, he saw no irritation, no weakness, just calm composure. And somehow, that gaze made him look away first. He moved along quickly, but something in his chest tightened guilt, maybe, or confusion. Moments later, as the passengers settled, a flight attendant approached Margaret. "Ma'am, the captain requests to verify your passport for international clearance." Margaret blinked in surprise, but smiled. "Of course, dear." She handed it over neatly. The attendant carried it to the cockpit, tapping softly on the door. Ryan opened it absent-mindedly and froze. Inside, next to her photo, was a golden diplomatic seal, U.S. Diplomatic Service, retired. And beneath it, typed neatly in bold letters, former U.S. Air Force flight instructor, Colonel Margaret Hayes. The color drained from his face. The air in the cockpit seemed to vanish. He whispered, "No way," and flipped the pages again. It was real. This was the Colonel Hayes, the legendary instructor who trained pilots during the Cold War. The same woman his father used to talk about, the one who taught him how to land in storms, how to stay calm when engines failed, how to never panic under pressure. Ryan swallowed hard. The woman he had mocked minutes ago was the same woman who had helped generations of pilots, including his own father, earn their wings. He stepped out of the cockpit, his heartbeat heavy in his chest, and walked down the aisle toward her. Passengers looked up curiously as he stopped by her seat. "Ma'am, Colonel Hayes," he said softly. Margaret looked up, her eyes kind. "I was once," she replied with a faint smile. Today, I'm just Margaret." Ryan's voice trembled as he turned to the passengers. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "this woman isn't just a passenger. She's a hero. She trained hundreds of Air Force pilots, including my late father." The cabin went silent. Then one person began to clap. Then another. Within seconds, the entire plane was applauding. Even the crew members wiped away tears. Margaret's eyes glistened as she smiled humbly. "Oh, I'm no hero," she said softly. "I just taught people how to find their wings." Ryan knelt beside her. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry for how I spoke to you earlier. I didn't know who you were." She placed her trembling hand on his shoulder. "Son, respect shouldn't depend on knowing who someone is," she said gently. "It should be your default." He nodded, his voice barely a whisper. "Yes, ma'am." "Go fly this plane, Captain," she added with a faint smile. "And this time, do it with heart." Ryan straightened up, saluted her quietly, and walked back to the cockpit. His co-pilot glanced at him. Who was she? Ryan smiled softly. "Someone who taught us what it really means to fly. Not with machines, but with dignity." As the engines roared and the aircraft lifted into the clouds, Margaret looked out the window. The world below shimmered like a painting. Her reflection glowed faintly against the glass, proud, peaceful, and eternal. She whispered to herself, "Respect is the runway to humanity." And somewhere, high above the earth, the sky felt a little gentler that day.